One of the happiest memories of my life is when, after a whole day of writing, I was struggling to keep my eyes open because they hurt so much from staring at the screen the entire day. But I also hate the hustle culture. How can both of these statements be true at the same time? Allow me to explain. The default state of the human mind isn't blissful peace. When not guided by structure, our minds usually swing between boredom and worry, or anxiety. That's why modern life revolves around activities designed to relieve inner discomfort through distraction. If the default state of the human mind were order and peace, people wouldn't be getting addicted to activities and substances that help you to lose yourself and forget about your worries, even for a moment. Whether it's Netflix, video games, social media, alcohol, drugs, food, superficial relationships, or all of them combined, people are dependent on them to get through the day. This means that the human mind asks to be directed, and that's going to happen either through meaningful structure or through self-destructive escapism. Then, if our minds need structure to escape boredom and worry constructively, what does that tell us about focus? Focus then isn't a tool for productivity, although it is a superpower for external achievement. But focus is a building block of a life full of meaning, fulfillment, and even joy and happiness. Back to my memory of struggling to keep my eyes open after a whole day of writing. I was waiting for the train after writing for close to 7 hours in one of my favorite cafes. I had another 2-hour writing session before arriving there. It was my most intense work day up to that point in my life. So what makes it one of my happiest memories? It's not the fact that I was super productive that day. It's not the fact that I was hustling and thought I would get rich because of how much effort I was putting in. It was the first time I realized what it means to spend most of your day having your mental energy consciously invested and focused on something you consider meaningful and worthwhile. Life makes sense. As the psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi wrote in his book Flow, when a person's entire being is stretched in the full functioning of body and mind, whatever one does becomes worth doing for its own sake. Living becomes its own justification. In the harmonious focusing of physical and psychic energy, life finally comes into its own. Still, I don't want to make boredom and anxiety the villains of this story. Should you learn to tolerate boredom? Absolutely. Paradoxically, the ability to tolerate boredom will improve your focus, which will in turn allow you to escape boredom in a constructive way. Should you learn to welcome anxiety that comes from silence and lack of stimulation and allow it to teach you something about yourself? Absolutely. It's one of the prerequisites for becoming an authentic individual. One of my main missions as a writer is to talk about the constructive and even healthy side of anxiety. However, the reality is that human life is a life of activity, pursuit, and interacting with the world around us. Mastering boredom and courageously facing anxiety is supposed to prompt you to do something with that newfound energy and insight. Life is constantly asking you to choose something and focus on it. So I'll leave you with this. For the next 5 to 7 days, keep a journal to record where your mental energy and attention are invested daily. As the day comes to an end, reflect on what you were focused on for the most of the day, but also how often you are the one choosing what to focus on versus how often you fall victim to the trap of relief through distraction. You may be in for a rude but necessary awakening. Thank you for your time and attention.